Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of The Bald Brad Show. It is officially Friday, March 21st, and we have officially been 2 months with Donald Trump in office, taking the helm, making America great again, baby, trying to steer this ship. We're getting feedback again. There we go. All right, fix it for you. I caught it right away. There's a lot of gizmos and buttons going on, but how's everybody doing? Hopefully you are having a nice morning. We had a hell of an evening last night with Dark MAGA. If you weren't able to join us, that is still live. It is up. We opened it up to everybody last night. We had a little bit of fun, and we're going to be covering a lot of news for you this morning. If you could help us by hitting that like button, it does support the show. It forces the algorithm to send our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel, which helps us grow here at the show. And it also supports a conservative. So all help would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's jump right into the news, baby. Mind you, Fridays are reserved for headlines that we weren't able to touch throughout the week or for breaking news, and we spend a little bit more time in the chat seeing what the Patriots are up to. So throw your stuff in the chat. If you want my opinion on something, if you want me to talk about maybe something, throw it in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to it. The first one I want to touch here is top healthcare executive pushed for med schools to accept race-based students or students just based on the race. Now, that's a big problem. Now, I got no qualms with somebody being black, Asian, Hispanic, white, I don't care, Indian, I don't care who you are. I want to make sure that you know what you're doing, that you're a smart cookie. See what I did there? Smart and cookie don't go together. Cookie, not smart. A top executive at a major healthcare provider whose duties involve placing graduate students at hospitals across the country has said that diversity is essential for healthcare and advocated for medical schools to accept students in racially proportional ways. If they would have stopped right here and said that diversity is essential for healthcare, I agree. Got no qualms with that. As long as it's based on merit, your character, and, do you have what it takes to be in med school or be a doctor? Your race is meaningless. This right here, this skin color, because I don't go out in the sun, is white. If I was to go out in the sun, I have looked brown before. My father would tan really easily. It's just I could be dark. I just don't go out in the sun ever. You got to keep the skin tight, ladies. You got to keep it tight. Diversity in theory is great. Diversity in practice of how the left uses it, not so much. Dr. Monique Butler, the president of Graduate Medical Education for Hospital Corporation of America Healthcare, has aggressively pushed DEI and racial quotas. Headquartered in Tennessee, also has a history of championing DEI, though many references such as the efforts have been scrubbed from its website in recent months. Oh, I thought it was such a great idea. What's wrong? You go in to get a mole removed, you come out missing both your legs. What's the big deal? You go in, you wanted to get some hair plugs, maybe get a facelift, and you come out trans. You got a pair of boobies and no more pee-pee. It's gone. It's in the trash can. Jesus fertilizer out back for their flower garden. Butler was named president of HCA's Graduate Medical Education Program in March of 2024. One of the nation's largest graduate medical education programs. Oh, goody. You go for the best and you cripple it. You inject it with your leftist virus ideology, and this is what we have. So now it just spreads like wildfire. Don't go to the hospitals. Don't get surgery. You don't know where they're coming from. It offers over 300 residencies and fellowship programs across 16 states and 79 hospitals with more than 5,000 residents and 300 fellows. Oh, goody. Now, here's the problem, is that when you go to med school or you go to these Ivy Leagues, and I'm not saying this is the case, but it's tough for some people that go to that school to look at somebody that's a person of color. It doesn't have to be black, by the way. Anybody that's a person of color and go, I'm not so sure that you're here because you actually got in here. Was it your race that got you in here? Or were you actually here on the same level that I got here in terms of my grades, my extracurriculars, my volunteer work I did? Maybe you wrote a paper that got published. It's hard to distinguish. And by the way, that's not a good thing to have that wishy-washy thinking and not 100% sure if your peers around you are at the same level you are. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the individual that got in based on their race. According to HCA, it is the largest sponsor of residency and fellowship programs across the nation. And that's what they're doing. Oh, you got to make sure that it's proportional. So the easy one, because I know off the top of my head because I wrote the book, if 13% of the population is black, well, then 13% of medical students need to be black as well. But should it be 13% of the United States? Or should it be the proportion of the globe? Or should it be the proportion of the locality? Or should it be a proportion of the specific state? See how it's so wish-washy. Whereas you wouldn't have to think of any of this going, hey, do you have what it takes? Do you have the grades? Did you study? Did you put in the work? Where'd you come from? Because not all schools are the same, right? Schools, like I told you, we'll get in a moment, education system is completely fake. It's fabricated. It's not real. It's babysitting. Be nice. Be nice to figure that out. You guys, this should all scare you whenever I talk about education. It is the biggest epidemic in this country. And I fully believe that. I'm not just saying it. I'm not trying to hype it up. It is the biggest epidemic. Kids, at least, this is numbers just based on an assessment. At least 33% of kids can't read at grade level by like middle school. And that doesn't change, by the way. So if you're having kids get through high school that are somehow going to these university systems and they didn't know basic math in high school and they didn't know how to read in high school, first of all, how'd they graduate? That's the main question. The second question is, how'd you get into college then? And the third question is, how'd you graduate college? Oh, some of these people are doing your finances. Oh, some of these people are giving you advice. Some of these people are getting into med school. How? Some of these people, I don't know if I would take advice from. You have this right here. Judge says Trump admin defense of gang member deportation flights woefully insufficient. Here we go again. Donald Trump and Tom Homan are trying to make America safe again. The Democrat Party and these rogue judges don't want you to be safe. Well, how do I know that? I'm looking at the history of the Democrat Party. And they've always been this way of going against things that are good. Republicans wanted to end slavery. Democrats, they wanted to keep it. Republicans didn't like the Klan, didn't want them around. Democrats, well, not only did they found the KKK, but they embraced them. What else do we have here? Oh, civil rights. Republicans wanted civil rights for all people. They wanted all people to be created equally and treated equally. Guess who didn't? Democrats. Let's see. Who wanted to fabricate lies about police shootings that unarmed black men were being hunted down in the streets by police officers? Democrats were fabricating that. Who did we find out that was getting paid off left and right to push a narrative? Democrats were. And where do we find that? Through Doge. Who burned down our cities and caused billions of dollars in property damage around 2016 to 2020, in that range? Just take this. Democrats. Who took over entire city blocks, did not allow police or paramedics to enter, which led to the murdering and killing and raping of people, and assault and burglary, and businesses being shuttered and shut down because nobody can get into the business? Democrats, there you go. Who is it that is willing to destroy this entire country through the use of the EPA and the climate change agenda and cripple this economy? The Democrats. And lastly, who's currently burning down dealerships, attacking Tesla vehicles, people's property once again, and lighting on fire? Arson. Who is it? It's Democrats. Constant theme here, but you get these rogue judges that don't want you to be safe. See, when Republicans, listen, come here. Not you guys. I want Democrats. Come in, come on. Lesson time. Lesson time with Brad. Okay, come on. No, put on your listening ears. Yep. You think they're ready? See, when Republicans, true Republicans, again, true conservatives and Republicans, not the ones that did the January 6th shit. You want to know how we protest? Tell me how Bud Light's doing. Bud Light ain't doing so hot. How's Snow White doing at the box office? Not doing so hot either. Turns out, we just don't go buy products. That's the way that we protest. We don't put our hair up in little fucking pigtails and duct tape our body parts together and go wave the Mexican flag out in the streets and burn down and throw stuff at bypassers that are going by and blocking roads, cementing our face to the asphalt. No. Burn down Teslas. We don't do any of that. We just don't go buy the product. And they're still suffering. What about Target? Target wasn't doing so well. We got to burn things down. The judge wrote in a 3-page ruling that he was not satisfied with the submission of an ICE officer attesting that deportation flights carrying 250 illegal aliens, right here, by the way, illegal aliens, including suspected gang members, had left before he issued an order to stop the flights. But they were illegal. I'm confused here. The judge also said he needed more information about the ICE officer's statement indicating that the Trump administration was considering the implication of state secrets privilege. This is woefully insufficient. To begin, the government cannot proffer a regional ICE officer official to attest to cabinet level discussions of the state secret privilege. Indeed, his declaration on that point, not surprisingly, is based solely on his substantiated understanding. Oh, okay. Well, the judge was responding to a declaration by Texas ICE officer Robert Cerna, who reaffirmed the Trump administration's previous statements about the timing of the deportation flights last weekend to El Salvador. This is one of the few times I got no qualms with Trump just flying the people in. That's okay. They're gone. You got rid of them. I'm safe. I'm safe. You're safe. Everybody's safe. Because you got 250 illegal aliens that are violent gang members gone. And what's the media doing? We saw this during the White House press briefing, folks. Yeah, Caroline, are we sure they were all gang members? They were illegal. That's it. Bye. That's all. Nothing more needs to be said. There's a gang member or not. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you have tattoos all over your face. Not supposed to be here. Now, you being a gang member and having a tatted up face with like MS-13, the Latin Kings, Autoleful, doesn't work for me. You're gone. You're out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, bye-bye. I almost want to wave to every plane that's flying in the sky, but, some of them are landing nearby. You also have Tom Homan pushes to increase efforts combating illegal immigration tenfold. I'll believe it when I see it, Tom. You told me a lot of stuff, brother. I like Tom Homan. I'm not against the work that Tom Homan's doing, but he overpromised and way underdelivered. I'm talking he's not even close to his promises, folks. This is, folks, I'll be honest. It's a joke. What he's doing is a joke. In numbers, we're still screwed. I haven't heard much. I've heard a few terrorists being deported. There's thousands of them here. Why are we not arresting them? Border czar Tom Homan said during a panel discussion this week that while the Trump administration has secured a historic turnaround on the southern border, he still wants more. Yeah, so do all of we, Tom. And we're a little frustrated. It's great that you guys got the border under control, But the millions of people that are here that are voting in their municipalities in some cases, we just saw a state try to implement that and it failed. Not really happy with what's going on because people are still being murdered, Tom. People are still being raped. People are still being dragged through the streets. People are still being sold off into slavery, forced labor. It might not be many right now in terms of the forced labor and slavery, but it's still happening. And the probability of that happening should be zero because the people that are here shouldn't be here in the first place. He said, in 4 weeks, we have arrested more criminal aliens in the interior of the United States than Joe Biden did in a year. First of all, Homan said. Second of all, border numbers right now are down 96%, which is great. Again, he's doing good things. But Joey was allowing in 10,000 people a day for years. So for him to at least even break even, he would have to do 10,000 people a day just to break even. And by the way, that's not even the people that came in before Joey's time. There's more people than half the population of our states. And what we're seeing for the first time ever, that those people are having kids. And guess who those kids are going to go up and vote for? The Democrats. This is a long-term game plan. We called it out like years ago before everybody was talking about, oh, these are for votes. Yeah, they're going to get the votes. Go back in our video catalog. We've been covering illegal immigration every single week for 4 years, almost every single day, every other day at least, for 4 years. And I said this was their game plan. It's all about votes. Because when these people come, doesn't matter where they come from, they're here for the welfare state. And who wants a massive welfare state is the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has been like that, always been like that. Now, it doesn't mean that in proportionality, believe it or not, actually Republicans, red states tap into a welfare state more than blue states do, depending on what you're looking at, the data, or where you're looking at it. They still want it. You come here illegally, you shouldn't get free handouts. By the way, I wouldn't expect that if I go to another country. I wouldn't expect me to illegally enter another country, nor would I do it because it's illegal and I like to follow the rules. I wouldn't expect them to give me all this free stuff. And what we needed, as the president articulated during the speech, all we needed was a new president who took border security seriously. And that's what we have in President Trump, he continued. But there's the most important part. What I think is the most important part. Gotaways. He noted that under the Biden administration, more than 2 million illegal aliens slipped into the U.S. without being apprehended and fingerprinted or vetted. And remember how we were told this wasn't happening. We were told they were being vetted. We were told they were being fingerprinted and processed. But then you had Fox News, right? Newsmax, OAN down. I mean, you had all these sites down there, Daily Wire, doesn't matter who it is. And the people down there, the illegals themselves, saying, no, it wasn't vetted. Guy came right on in. No passport, nothing. Yep, just they were waving me in. They couldn't believe it. Like we're at some sort of concert and we're trying to park our car. They're just waving us in by the thousands. Come on in. The registration booth for the Democrat Party is that way. 2.2 million people came into the country and we got them on video. Drone traffic, sensor traffic. They weren't apprehended because Border Patrol is too busy changing diapers, making baby formula, taking care of humanitarian crisis of people coming across the border by the millions. 2.2 million people across the border. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they came from. Hell, we don't even know why they're here. Well, Tom, look, he said that the number of gotaways entering the U.S. has plummeted to 1,800 per day. It's still more than I want. If you can get that into the hundreds, maybe. I want it like 100 or less a day. Now, is that even feasible? Not exactly sure, but that's what I want. You also have to realize too, and I know you guys do, when you have this amount of invasion happening in your country, you are almost guaranteed to change your culture. Do we like the way Democrats are going progressive left? Like borderline socialism, communism, crazy shit. They're burning down Teslas. Like I said, they burn down buildings. They want to trans your kids. They want to secretly trans your kids. This is how disgusting these people are. Your kids. Manipulate them in the education system, tell them America's evil, indoctrinate them to the point where they don't even stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't even recite the Pledge of Allegiance in the school system anymore, by the way. Like the kids don't even say it. I say it every single morning. I actually say it out loud. I stand up, because people died for this country. Because I understand how great this place is. But when you've been indoctrinated your entire life, you don't know how great it is. Now, you shouldn't rely on the school system to teach you how great America is. That should be coming from the parents. But when your parents might have came here illegally, well, it turns out, and by the way, some of those illegal parents do teach their kid how great America is and how awesome this place is. Some of them don't, because some of them turn out to be terrorists, violent gang members, murderers, sex traffickers, drug dealers. Yeah, those types of things. But when we say that, what happens? We're the bad guy. No, we're terrible people because we don't want our kids to be killed or murdered or raped. Yeah, no, you're an evil person for thinking that, you guys. When I say that we should be deporting illegal aliens, I could lose my job over that. Now, I just want to get a gauge in the chat. How many of you think that somebody should lose their job for saying that we should deport violent gang members that rape and murder people and assault and do drugs and sell drugs? Put a yes if you think somebody should lose their job for saying that. Put a no if somebody shouldn't lose their job for saying that. Mind you, we have free speech, but that's here nor there. You guys let me know. But I'm curious to see what the Patriots think in the chat. Yes, somebody should lose their job for saying something like that, or no? I'm just curious to see if there's even one yes. It's crazy. But this is a society we've lived in. And I think you don't have to look any further than looking at what's going on in the United Kingdom. Their culture is changing. Europe's culture is changing because you're allowing mass immigration. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't allow immigration to take place, but it doesn't need to happen by just flooding the entire country full of people that you don't even know what the hell's going on, that are bringing in stuff. Check this out. Here's what I keep preaching. But the left keeps pushing back when you have 90% decline in illegal border crossings, when 96% less people are coming. How many women and children aren't being sexually assaulted by the cartels? How many children aren't dying crossing the border? How many pounds of fentanyl is not getting into this country to kill Americans? How many people on the terrorist watch list aren't escaping into this country? How many billions of dollars are the cartels not making? Exactly, Tom. Exactly. So I have that clip here, a little lengthy, but we'll watch it. I thought, hand to God, I thought this guy was smoking a cigar at first. I thought Tom was sitting in a freaking gold-laced chair smoking a stogie like a mob boss.
We arrested more criminal aliens in the interior United States than Joe Biden did in a year, first of all. Second of all, the border numbers right now are down 96%. 96% decline in 6 weeks. We did in 6 weeks what Joe Biden refused to do in 4 years. And what we needed, as the president articulated during the speech, all we needed was a new president who took border security seriously, and that's what we have in President Trump. 96% decline on border crossing. But here's the most important part, what I think is the most important part, gotaways. Under Joe Biden, we got 2.2 million people cross the border, weren't apprehended, weren't fingerprinted, weren't vetted. 2.2 million people came into this country, and we got them on video, drone traffic, sensor traffic. They weren't apprehended because Border Patrol was too busy changing diapers, making baby formula, taking care of the humanitarian crisis of people coming across that border by the millions. 2.2 million people cross the border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, why they're here. Gotaways by average were 1,800 a day under Joe Biden. 1,800 people a day crossed this border and weren't apprehended because Border Patrol was so overwhelmed. The gotaway number yesterday, 41. 41, 1,841. That means less people are entering this country than that we don't know who they are. When you have the border, and here's where I keep preaching, but the left keeps pushing back. When you have a 96% decline in illegal border crossing, when 96% less people are coming, how many women and children aren't being sexually assaulted by the cartels? How many children aren't dying crossing that border? How many pounds of fentanyl is not getting into this country to kill Americans? How many people on the terrorist watch list aren't escaping this country? How many billions of dollars are the cartels not making? A secure border saves lives, and that's what President Trump has done. We were saving lives by the thousands simply because we have a secure border. We got more to do. Look, we were arrested about 3 times more than Biden did in 1 month. I already talked about that. In 1 month, we compare his month to our month, we're arresting 3 times more than Joe Biden did. That's not enough. We need to do 10 times more because he wasn't doing squat. So the media's been all over me, well, are you happy with the numbers? I'm happy. I'm not satisfied. We're not going to rest. I'm not going to sleep well at night until every public safety threat, illegal aliens eradicated from this country. That's when we'll relax, and that's when we'll take some action.
We'll see, Tom, but you're not meeting the numbers. And, you know, I like that he's saying, look, we're not doing enough. I appreciate that. But that only goes so far. Saying things to me only goes so far. I like to see somebody say something and then give action. Words to me, quite frankly, are meaningless. A lot of people create excuses. I sometimes do it too. I'm no different than anybody else, but I always try to catch myself if possible. I really, really do. If you're enjoying the show, folks, we do this each and every morning, weekdays, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're new here, let us know if you're new, whether you're over at YouTube or Rumble. Let us know, hey, I'm a new viewer. And we will embrace you with open arms. Even if you're progressive lefty, I'll smack you around a little bit, but we'll still have fun with you, and you're more than welcome to be in here. Now, we have Donald Trump cuts education department. Everything's on fire. The education, the kids. Suspected Tesla vandals charged as terrorists, and then IRS shakeup. This is the morning brief, folks. This is a roundup of what happened this week. So after decades of failing grades, the Department of Education is being scrapped by the Trump administration. Attorney General Pam Bondi, several charged suspects for domestic terrorism after targeting Tesla, and the Trump IRS is slamming the brakes on major audits as the agency braces for radical change. The first part here was Trump dismantles Department of Education. The top headline here, the education's gone, baby. It's been disbanded. At a ceremony at the White House on Thursday, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that will begin to eliminate the Department of Education. The department was created by an act of Congress. Do you see that? So that's where I think the legality is going to come into effect. If and this is my guess, I don't think he has the right to do it, to be honest. The executive order. I always say this, you guys, I don't want anybody to think differently. I love Trump, but I told you I would at least give you my honest opinion. I just don't think Trump has the authority to actually do this. This needs to be done through Congress. He has the branches, all three branches he needs to put it through, and that is being worked out. There is a bill that's been pushed in the past. There's another one that's going to be pushed, I think, soon, which we covered yesterday, I believe, during Dark MAGA, or at least yesterday morning. And I forgot who was heading that. But anywho, it needs to probably most likely go through Congress. But in the meantime, the Trump administration will continue to cut the department staff as nearly half of its employees have already been let go since Trump took office. We're going to be returning education simply back to the states, which is how it's supposed to be, by the way. A lot of this stuff, the way the Federalist Papers are written, the way the country was created, hence a union, is that you leave the power up to the states as much as you can. We're a country that's built on a union of states. So allow the state to run the thing of which they're supposed to run and stop leaving everything up to the federal government. That doesn't mean the federal government isn't important, but it's also not the way things were created of just having them do everything for us. That doesn't even make sense, by the way. As I've always mentioned, you want to go and have your locality basically have as much power as possible to dictate things in your life. I'm not saying they should have power over it. Does it make sense? Because people misconstrue things. But what I'm saying is it's a place that you can go to and talk to somebody face to face and say, hey, I don't like this. And then get everybody in the neighborhood together and say, I don't like this. We want change. Fix the freaking road, or stop spending money on lesbian dance theory classes at the local gymnasium or something. I don't know. I made that up, but you guys get what I'm saying. The federal government doesn't know who the hell you are. They don't know who we are. Trump said to a crowd of governors, educators, and students around the country, this is a very popular thing to do, but much more importantly, it's a common sense thing to do, and it's going to work. Now, common sense doesn't exactly work with the progressive left. I mean, these, again, they're the same people that want to burn down our cities, loot stuff. They think America's evil, but yet they want to live here. Now, here's the numbers. This is what I wanted to show you guys. The Department of Education was founded under the Carter administration in 1979. Republicans have campaigned on abolishing the department for nearly as long as it's existed. President Reagan pledged to end it in 1980 campaign, but failed to garner enough support from congressional Democrats. See, Reagan tried to do it the right way and go through Congress. Trump is doing it through the wrong way, but he's just like, I'm going to do it anyways. Which I just want to point out, always try to put the shoe on the other foot. I imagine Barack Obama or Joey, just pick one. Pick the worst one, probably Joey, doing this to a form of government of which we like. Now, here's the thing. It's hard to imagine, one, well, for multiple reasons. One, because Democrats don't like to cut anything out that's government because they like bloated and big government. And two, There's not very many government initiatives, things that I actually like. So if you want to start cutting as a fiscal conservative, and I'm kind of libertarian on government in terms of stay the hell out of my life, I don't know. I don't know if I would have a problem with it, to be honest. I don't know if I really would. Well, they controlled the House of Representatives for the length of his presidency. And here we have the math and reading scores of 13-year-olds. And as you could see, -9 scores change between 2020 and 2023. Now people go, oh, well, they weren't in the classroom. Who's the number one educator in a person's life? Anybody? I'll wait. There's like a 20-second delay. My question is who is the number one educator in a child's life? Is it Brad? Is it me? Is it an influencer? Is it Tucker Carlson? Is it Joe Biden? God forbid. Is it the teacher? Is it the administrators? Is it the school system that's the number one educator of a person? Who's the number one educator of children? Reading scores are -4 between 2020 and 2023. Now, to be honest, they've actually kind of stagnated, but you see math and reading scores as a mathematics scores have increased, but then they plummeted. But, you know, I would like to point out, folks, that some of this stuff is manipulated, just a heads up. And that's the deeper thing here, is the data is manipulated. The data is manipulated from the grade book. The data is manipulated on who's actually passing through. And I've been there, folks. I've seen it. You are asked to just give kids 100% on things they've never even turned in public schools. Public schools are doing away. You don't do anything, you get 50% in some schools. Folks, they lowered the grade. Remember how it was 90 to 100 was an A, and then 80 to 89 was a B? No. Like a 60 to a 70 is now a C. Everybody just gets passed through. It's the biggest sham that's ever happened. And everybody's playing it off like they don't care because their kid got into some Ivy League school. It's like they don't know how to divide. A senior does not know how to divide and square root. What do you mean they're getting into an Ivy League? How is that possible? And then the question is, well, how is it possible they have an A in the class? Come on. We all know. So it's all fabricated. I've always said this, whatever your son or daughter is getting, maybe it is legit. Maybe it is. Because there's things that are legit. Majority, not even close. Not even close. I would say take it down an entire letter grade. If somebody asked me my professional opinion, whatever grade that student got, probably take it down an entire letter grade. If they have a C, that is like no holds bar. Who the fuck knows what happened? If somebody has a C in the education system nowadays, that could be an F, that could be a D, it could be a C. We don't know. So if you see anybody with a letter grade C, even your son or daughter, somebody has to tell this to your face. I'm sorry. You got to ask questions. You can get a C in school nowadays by tying your shoes. And if you don't have laces, Velcro. You show up, a body. It's all fake. Somebody has to tell you, and I'm open about it. It's all fake. At the moment, you guys have to, come on. Are you kidding me? The data shows, now this is just one example. The data has always shown for decades that they can't read at grade level. So why are you graduating anything? Why are you even moving up a grade if you can't even teach at read at which grade you're in? I don't understand. Somebody explain that to me, how you accept somebody to succeed going forth when they haven't even succeeded in the thing of which they're at currently. They do this for math. Can I give you guys an example? Really, I'm passionate about this because it's mind-blowing to me. Let's say you're taking an Algebra 1 class in high school and you don't pass it. I'm not making this up. Hand to God, I swear to God, this is real. You're in an Algebra 1 class. Listen carefully. Guess what you go get to take after? You didn't pass it. You failed it, actually. You failed the entire year, both semesters, flat F. Guess what you get to go take next year? A higher level math. Math excels, meaning the longer you're in math, guess what happens? It gets harder. It's not like a history class or social studies where you step in, it already happened. You're reading a book, Folks, I read social studies on my fucking leisure. It's easy. I read it for fun. Math gets harder. I could step into a social studies class and teach it blindfolded, like today. What do you want to learn about World War II? Do you want to learn about MacArthur? Do you want to learn about FDR? Do you want to go into the outgrowths of the economics that went into it? Do you want to learn about the New Deal and how that kind of had the outgrowth of destroying this country through Social Security and bloating government? Do you want to talk about the USS Indianapolis, the movement with that and the bomb going to the islands in the Philippines, dodging Japanese submarines? Do we want to talk about, what we want to talk about Pearl Harbor? You go walk into an ABBC calc class from another subject. Let me know how that works out for you. You come and step in and teach AP statistics like I do. Step in today. I want you to teach chi-squared testing. I want you to do the full-blown chi-squared testing without preparation, by the way. Let me know how that works out for you. They can't do it. I'll even give them a little bit of preparation. So how is somebody capable of succeeding if they didn't pass the math beforehand? And here's the kicker of it all. Trump doing what he's doing has no effect on the education system. Both good and bad. Both good and bad. This does not solve it. The reading and math scores are not going to go up. You can manipulate it. That's not the problem. I'll give you the problem. The kids don't care about their education. They care about being influencers and TikTok and on Snapchat, and they're addicted to their phones. They can't get off of it. Everybody sees it in the classroom. Talk to any teacher out there. Look at that. Latino beef. That's a new viewer. Good to see you, Latino. I remember I used to cry when I forgot to do my homework, and I asked my dad if I could stay up past 8 to finish it. And that's parenting, though. That's parenting. And that's because you cared a lot? No. Do you know how many people come in and go, do we have a test today? Mind you, you could show them an entire four weeks plus. I could actually show them an entire year, 4 weeks plus. People still ask, do we have a test today? They don't know how they have tests. Could you imagine walking into school? I have a test today. What? Crazy. I go on for hours about that. I could share stories that would blow your mind. Blow your mind. I remember having my classmates scream all the way down the hallway back in the day when the principal spanked them with a paddle. Bring back paddles. You can't bring back paddles because now they'll just come and shoot you, Jimmy. These kids are crazy. They're crazy. In other news here, we have National Economic Council dunks on reporter over egg prices. Go to the grocery store. So egg prices are down. Also, gas prices are down too. Jimmy, I left you a comment yesterday. Gas prices are down, brother. Look, I would love for you to be right, but the national price of gas is down. I looked it up this morning when I saw your comment. I love you. You know I do. Jimmy, you know I care for you. I don't know who you are in real life. I've never met you, but I care about you. So again, watch out for the education system. We'll come back to this in just one moment, folks. Check out the education system. There's a lot of great books out there, and I think it will kind of wake you up to the fact that no matter even if we bring it back to the States, nothing's going to change. You have to change by giving these kids consequences. You shouldn't move a grade level if you didn't pass the previous grade level. If you don't pass a high school exit exam, you don't graduate high school, you don't get a GED. That's nobody else's fault other than yours. That doesn't mean people don't have circumstances. That doesn't mean things don't happen in people's lives. Should we help them? Of course, that's baked into the cake. We already know that. But if you don't pass, there's consequences. Folks, if you don't do your job, you get fired. If you break the law, you go to jail. And then people are wondered why, man, how come my kid's coming out of the education system not knowing anything and committing crime? Well, if they didn't get any consequences at home because you didn't know that they were doing their work or not doing their work, well, they were up in their room for hours studying for 3 hours for a test. That's 2 questions. It's like, really? Come on, let's not be stupid. And then, because there's no consequences at home and there's no consequences in the classroom, meaning there's no fucking consequences in their life, then you shouldn't have like how did this happen? I never showed signs before. No, you're just oblivious to it in the same way you're oblivious at home that the kid wasn't doing any homework or studying for anything and his grades were a C and you thought C was good. can't divide, but somehow is in like a high level class. Come on, gotta have a little bit of what the hell's going on here. Sorry if I'm being an asshole, but it's true. Speaking of things that's true, we got the best platform out there, and that's Rumble, folks. This sponsor is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built a platform for the small creators such as myself. They didn't censor or have biases for anybody. They were fair and treated everybody, all creators, equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation. YouTube's still doing it, by the way. YouTube is still censoring us or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook, by the way, literally admitted to it, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And they fell to the pressure of the Biden-Harris administration. But Rumble did not, folks. They held the line, and they stood strong. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you fine people. They're attacked in corporate media. They're attacked by governments like France. They're attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. They just got DDoSed the other week, along with Elon Musk. Corporate America is fighting to remove free speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive without brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in the fight, and you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. And with that, you get a lot of other great shows. Starting March 24th, a lot of shows on YouTube are moving over to Rumble, meaning you won't be able to find them on YouTube. You can only get them on Rumble. Having Rumble Premium will also give you access to a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that they do live and a lot of goodies over there. So join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with promo code STUDIO. When you purchase an annual subscription, go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO, all caps. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble. Look, if you don't have it, folks, you know how we roll here. You just watching us over at Rumble is just as great. So we get people are strapped for cash. Totally understand that. Totally get that. But for those that want to join, it's over there. And we do generally have every Tuesday, Thursday, Dark MAGA podcasts that are for Rumble Premium only. There'll be times when I open it up for everybody because I think it's important to engage your audience. And traditionally, I would like to have things opened up to everybody, but I have to meet a requirement to be a Rumble creator. So just want to let you know that my heart is to have everybody join, but I understand if you can't. So that's why we're going to open it up like we did last night. It was opened up to everybody. And I want to make sure we're catering to everybody here. So with that being said, egg prices are down. I think there's an exchange here. Hold on. Let me just pull it up here. Might as well just show you the clip instead of me talking. You're like, Brad, shut up. Shut up, monkey. Show us some video footage.
Update on that ag program that you mentioned on the egg prices. How's that going?
Yeah, they're down $2.50 a dozen. And I went to the grocery store as I do every Saturday because I'm the one who likes to shop in my family because I get to see all the prices. And the egg prices in D.C. were actually down quite a bit more than $2.50
How do you know that's directly correlated with what the Trump administration is doing?
Because if you look at the data on the culling of chickens, it's basically stopped starting on January 20th. There's a chart we can show you on that. But it's astonishing how many chickens were killed in the last 2 months of the Biden administration, and by having a more prudent, Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins has done a more prudent policy about how to manage the disease, then we got lower egg prices and healthier chickens because they're not being culled
so
in millions. Again, remember, it was more than 100-something million chickens were culled, and they spent $2 billion killing the chickens, and if you look at what's happened to the culling since President Trump took office, it's gone almost to zero. Well, thank you guys very much. I'm sorry.
Of eggs versus what consumers are actually paying. We've seen wholesale prices go down, but it's not always reflected in the grocery store.
The latest egg prices, go to the grocery store. I literally just went to the grocery store and bought the same eggs I always bought, and they were way down.
The whole country.
No, but it's $2.50 a dozen for the whole country. So. Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
I believe that was Caitlin Collins of CNN, the Debbie Downer for everything. We all know this. There's a theme of Democrats, progressive left, and sometimes Republicans do it too. I mean, people just do it in general. When they go to their grocery store, they might see egg prices up. That doesn't mean that egg prices aren't down, though. Maybe there's some situation going on in your locality or state. Sometimes it's more expensive to ship things to certain states for various reasons. The tax, the freight, the cost of gas. I mean, it really depends. The travel, the distance between the supplier, the manufacturer, whatever good service you're talking about, it all changes. So it's no different. You guys are paying cheap gas. My stuff is still expensive here in California and has nothing to do with Trump. Trump is bringing down the national level of gas. Like I said, I looked at it at 5 this morning. I looked at the price of gas 5 this morning. It is down since he's taken office. And by the way, I don't wish it was up. It's down. But it's still expensive in my state because they tax us through the roof. We have different blends for different seasons, so it burns more efficiently. There's just the bull crap just left and right. Just taxing the crap out of us. It's supposed to go to our roads, but our roads are the worst in the country. I don't need to vent right now. We got more news to cover. But you at least understand that it's people use us and, oh, well, not my grocery store. Okay, well, first of all, maybe you're going to an expensive grocery store. Go to a cheap place. Get cheap stuff. Costco eggs are cheap too. Not that, well, you have to have a Costco membership for that, but you understand what I'm trying to say here. Come on, folks. You know what I'm trying to talk about. Now, something we talked about last night on the Dark MAGA podcast was a lot of CNN stuff. Now, I'm going to show you this clip really quick. And we'll bypass this. Sorry. We don't have a ton of time. I want to get to Scott Jennings again. Scott Jennings had a clip yesterday that we watched, and he got a little frazzled by this anchor, reporter, I don't know what you call her, pundit, commentator, and they went back and forth, and this is the first time I've actually seen Scott get pissed. It's 3 minutes long. It's worth it. If you're here with Dark MAGA, I told you to watch it again because a lot of you like this clip. Here's Scott putting in the work on this knucklehead, and boy, she just reminds me of one of those lefties with the facial expressions, the manipulation, always as a victim. No matter what you say, we'll spin it back on how you're treating her wrongly. Just that type of person, just pure scum. Just pure scum.
Doubtful it's Republicans attacking Tesla dealerships around the country. It's pretty wild, actually. The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure are Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because their entire political worldview is ruled by their emotions. And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrorism. People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealership, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
No, I've never. I don't
Are
support.
you okay with the January 6th pardons?
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me educate you.
No, you don't need to patronize
you don't need to. You don't need to be condescending to me. So let me educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me finish. Let me finish.
Let me finish. Let's do this January 6th and then near it.
I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do.
Okay. Stop, guys.
So here's the issue. I didn't support.
I want to point out, I've dealt with these people. Some of these people are students. Some of these people are Americans. Some people are lefties. I've dealt with these people. They get to lean in and do their shenanigans. But then the second that you change any sort of your tone, all of a sudden you're the asshole. All of a sudden you're the bad guy. So they get to be condescending, manipulative, and, they change and act a certain way. But when you do it, oh, no, you're the bad guy, not them. There's no self-reflection. It's almost like an Asperger's syndrome where they can't look at themselves and see, maybe you are the one that kind of kicked this off. Maybe you're the one that kind of led to the situation of which you're in. Don't get upset with me because I dish back what you were giving. I may have escalated it a little bit more, but you were giving it out. So don't get all whiny, crying, acting like this when somebody else dishes stuff out to your face. So now all of a sudden Scott's the bad guy. This is what they do. This is how manipulative they are. He's the terrible, right? He's the oppressor now, not this broad.
What happened on January the 6th and was one of the first Republicans to call it out. I don't support the pardons. I have repeatedly, just like my friend Ashley here, said that no violence in our political system is acceptable. But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terroristic threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it. It's outrageous. I've sat at this table and had people say, we should cut Elon Musk from the government totally. He rescued our astronauts today. Is that what we want? The treatment of this guy is outrageous. These people who are doing this need to be found, put in jail, and made an example of. That's my point.
Anyone who commits violence against Tesla or Congress or anyone else should be put in jail, 1,000%. But that should not stifle dissent or opposition from Elon Musk.
Give it a little lip service. Give it a little both sides. Go ahead.
We're so both sides here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to say that people are legitimately upset. They're legitimately upset at Elon Musk, and they're doing it on their own, but there is no reason to have violence in the country. But I just wish all of us would support criticism of, or would support punishing people who are violent wherever they are.
Yeah. I'm going to listen to you. This is the same lady that called all of us a threat to democracy, a threat to the republic, people that didn't want to abide by the Constitution. The CNN was the one that pushed all this, one of the many outlets that pushed all this crazy stuff, whether it's the Hunter Biden laptop being a hoax, they pushed the PP hoax tape, they fabricated absolutely endless lies about Donald Trump. They still do. They're still saying, they were saying egg prices is Donald Trump's fault. The same MSNBC way back when, I always use this example, when the buildings were blazing behind them, just like, it's mostly peaceful, everything's pretty fine here. Give me a break. And then when Scott gets a little bit testy with her, all of a sudden he's the bad guy. Oh yeah, he's evil, right? Because he shoves it back in her face. They're the party that has supported burning down Teslas and stuff. And then they come out, oh, well, we shouldn't do it. It's bad. No. It's like, give me a break. You love that stuff. You freaking love it. Your whole party has loved it. And you notice that they always throw January 6th in our face. You have one event where nothing was burned down, by the way. There was damages that was done. But do you want to compare January 6th damages to you during Black Lives Matter burning down billions of dollars in damages? And by the way, nobody arrested for that. So you get arrested for buying a fucking hot dog 10 blocks away from the Capitol, and you're just there on leisure wearing a MAGA hat, but yet you get to go burn down entire buildings in Black Lives Matter. Nothing happens. Let's look the other way. Oh, did you burn down that building? Yeah, I see you're a Democrat. I know you love Joey. Don't worry about it. No big deal. Yeah, give me a break. Give me a break. People are scummy, man. Here's another one. Gavin Newsom. I thought you guys would enjoy this. Again, Friday episodes are a little loosey-goosey. There's no real main theme to the show. We kind of go over a lot of different clips and a lot of different articles that we haven't gone over this week. I feel like I've done more complaining and ranting on this episode than I have in a while, but I've been due for one. Here's Newsom getting slapped around.
So let's talk about the word Latinx. Just 2 weeks ago, here's what he said about it.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
where did that even
No
go?
more Latinx,
like,
everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about?
But there was a person who used Latinx. It was actually a really important person. It was him. Right?
Yeah, that's right. And look, these aren't minor shifts. These are progressive issues that Gavin Newsom used to champion until fairly recently. And now he's not just walking away from them. He's sort of acting like they were never legitimate with that clip talking about Latinx in the first place. But let's take Latinx. We did find somebody who used it repeatedly in his office. Let's take a listen to this.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
I want to point out something, and I said this. I told you guys to clip it. He will be running for president, I'm pretty sure. And what I think this podcast is for, even though he should be going out, fixing the state of California because it's falling apart, quite literally. I mean, falling apart. Our roads, our railways, our infrastructure, our bridges, everything's collapsing around us. I live here. I see it with my own eyes. Buildings are boarded up. Businesses are fleeing. People are getting out of the state. They're firing teachers because there's mass people leaving. People are having births. I mean, everything's just crazy here in this state. He's going to run for president. And this podcast is to make him seem like he's a centrist, like he's normal. And he is good, you guys. He's good at manipulating. He's he's as swamp as you can get, man. Why? You have to ask yourself, why is it CNN, MSNBC, DNC, all these outlets, ABC, NBC, it doesn't matter who it is, always highlights Newsom? Y'all notice that? Folks, there's other Democrat governors out there. Why are they not up there talking with CNN all the time? I don't see many Democrat governors getting the spotlight that I see Newsom getting all the time. It's all trial. How is he polling? How's he doing with the people? How do we get him on the national stage without making it look like he's running for president right now? Well, you start a podcast. Are people tuning in? How are they feeling about what he's saying? He's changing his tune a little bit. Don't trust anything Gavin Newsom tells you as somebody that lives here, as somebody that has to deal with this guy. He's as scummy as they come. New scum. Nice. This guy will destroy our country, man. And I really do mean that. The same way Kamala Harris would as well. Crazy. Really, really crazy stuff going on. Hit that like button if you're having a good time, folks. Let's spend a little bit in the chat here. I always want to make sure that, again, if you see me looking over here, because sometimes I'll do like a side eye, I'm reading your guys' chat. Just a heads up. Please don't, or I should be looking at the camera because that's me talking to you, but I'm talking to you this way because that's where the chat is at. So again, I don't want you guys to think I'm ignoring you. I'm literally reading your chat as I'm looking this way whenever, or when I'm talking to you. I should probably look this way, but I can't see what you're saying. You have Krager saying Dave Smith had a pretty good breakdown on Newsom the other day. There's always good breakdowns in Newsom. This guy, he's always giving us stuff to talk about, both good and bad, mostly bad. Craig says the left is screaming for violence every single day, just as they did in the summer of love, and mostly peaceful but fiery protests. Exactly correct over there. His servant, good to see you. Her facial expressions are really condescending. Yes, but remember, if you highlight that, if you call that out, well, you're a womanizer, you're a bigot, how dare you? Or the lovely one is, I don't have any facial expressions. What are you talking about? Oh, look at you. Now you're talking down. Now you're mansplaining. This is how these people work, man. That's why it's not even worth having a conversation with them. It's scummy. And I do think it's evil. I think if you manipulate people into that, acting like something didn't happen when it did, I think that, one, it's a pet peeve of mine. And second, it is just evil. And the other pet peeve of mine is when somebody keeps creating excuses and blaming you for the outcome of which they had. No, it's your fault. You didn't do what you're supposed to do, or you did do what, it doesn't matter. You didn't do it. You can create all these excuses that you want, but it's always the other person's fault. Yeah, your outcome is because somebody else caused it. And by the way, sometimes that does happen. Sometimes that does. More often than not in our everyday lives, somebody else did not dictate your actions. You dictated your own. I know people don't want to hear that because it's easy to blame somebody else. Trust me. Oh, I know. It's easy to blame somebody else. It's true. Gaslighting, absolutely. Jerry Brown built a power plant up on Cobb Mountain in California, and it never worked, never was made use of. Doesn't that sound familiar, Jay, to the high-speed rail that we spent billions of dollars on? I think it was like 12 billion plus, something insane. Don't know where the money went. Didn't build any rail. It's been going on for like 15 years. They had pillars of cement, like 5 of them, maybe 6 pillars of cement. That's it. Billions of dollars spent. No idea where it went. You think there's a little bit of money laundering? And this guy did that to the state of California. What type of stuff do you think he's willing to do to the federal government? He has the worst of everything, folks. He has homeless crisis, a drug crisis, a illegal immigration crisis. He has a crime crisis. He has a infrastructure crisis. There's actually nothing going well here in the state of California, in my opinion. I guess we have one of the biggest ports in the country. That's it, Long Beach. Wow. Now somebody might say, Brad, if you're ragging on California, why do you still live there? I have long-term plans. I keep saying that. You got to be smart. You can't just get up and leave. You got to be smart the way you do it. And also, I love being on the front lines. You know, my mom's here, my family's here. I got to help them, but you know. And by the way, I live in a Republican area, so it's not all bad. I have to go out of my way to dip into Democrat territory, meaning I have to go up to LA. Where I live in Orange County, by the way. Orange County's Republican, if you didn't know. Republican. Now, is that Orange County, New York? Is it Orange County, California? I'm Republican territory, baby. All day, every day. Well, folks, that is the end of today's episode. I am going to be doing a spooky adventures video. Let me get it up for you guys. Some of you been asking. I'm going to be doing spooky adventures a lot more. Hold on a second. I want to give you guys the link to the channel. So a lot of people did not know that, and Bets, I got your email, by the way. A lot of people do not know that we have a second channel that is called Spooky Adventures. And I thought I had it. There we go. And it's where we explore the paranormal, the supernatural, and the unexplained. And that's for Bald Brad. All right, well, give me one moment, folks, as I try to find that for you. Give me un momento, please. There we go. So let me get you the link, and we'll put that in the chat for you guys. So if you subscribe to Spooky Adventures, it's a different channel. It's where we explore the paranormal, the unexplained, and the supernatural. And we have fun doing it. So I'd like to build up that channel as well. It's not political, by the way. It's not, has nothing to do with politics. It's just a fun way for us to react to ghost videos and kind of search out all the fake stuff and try to find that needle in a haystack and see what's real and what isn't. It's a real, I have fun doing it. I should really spend more time. Do we want to raid somebody's show today or no? What do you guys want to do over at Rumble? Let's give the Rumble link out as well over to those at YouTube if we're going to raid somebody. We always love giving somebody our viewership. You guys go hard in the paint. You give us a voice over at Rumble, and I would love to raid somebody. We've been gaining followers, you guys, a lot, by the way. We get a lot of new viewers from this. So you guys plugging the show and other people's chats has been doing just yeoman's work for us. So I'd like to actually keep that going. I would like to do somebody different. I know we did MAGA yesterday, a MAGA podcast. I would like to do somebody a little bit different this morning. Spooky Adventures delves into Dems unexplained and no worries. I will still raid somebody. Maybe some of us can pop in. You don't have to stay the entire time of their podcast. It's just a good way to plug really quick. I am trying to find, let's see. Do we have, I'm trying to find somebody for us really quick here, folks. Again, hit that like button if you appreciate the show today. If you feel like we deserve a follow, please let us know. And let me see if I can find somebody. I apologize, it's taking a little bit longer than I thought. That is raid to Mike's live. What Mike? What are you talking about? We can go over there. I don't know who Mike is. Mike's podcast? Oh, is it Patriot Mike? Is that who you're talking about? Talking about this guy?
Here's another. He says, after the Times public.
We'll go over there. I'm going to send you to this guy. Patriots, have a nice weekend. Let's rate them for a little bit and plug the show. And folks, I will see you next time here on the Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots. Here we go. We're coming in hot. We're sending the brigade, baby. Thank you for the $10. Love your show. Been with you quite a while. Thank you so much for the $10. Thank you. I don't know if you can still hear me.